Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Art of Creation Homestead. My name is Jason. We're in the kitchen again. Can you believe it? Yeah, like there's anything to do outside, right? So we're in the kitchen, and Angela Kay's got an amazing recipe for you today. Do you remember, for me personally, we had these little, they had a little steakhouse called Quincy's, all right, back home. And then there was one called Ryan's, right? Some of you guys might remember those. They had these steakhouse rolls that were just so delicious. Greased in butter on top, right? And they were just so good. Well, Angela Kay's going to show you how to make them today. It's a steakhouse roll. It's a 90-minute roll, whatever you want to call it. It's a yeast roll, right? Mm-hmm. Yeast roll. See? That's a big brain right there. But either way, it's a delicious roll. That's what it is. So Angela Kay's going to show you how to get it done, all right?
So in this bowl, we have 2 cups of all-purpose flour. And we have another ½ cup of just-in-case flour. That's just in case we need it. And then we have 2 tablespoons of sugar in the middle. There's a reason for it being this way. We have 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt on this side. And we have 2 3/4 teaspoons of active dry yeast. This is rapid rise. I use SAF. You need rapid rise yeast for these rolls. That way they rise much faster. Now, the reason you want them apart is, contrary to some people not believing this, salt does kill yeast. They do not get along. So, but sugar, either one of them can get along with sugar. So you put sugar in the middle, you mix the sugar in. Now you toss the salt with flour, you toss the yeast with flour. And the flour is a disguise. That way they can't see each other. So they'll get along just fine. They'll get along just fine now because they can't see each other.
So don't need direct contact. Direct contact, yeast and salt is the issue. Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So now in this cup we have 1/4 of a cup of warm water, ½ a cup of milk, and 2 tablespoons of salted butter. I have put this all in the microwave, and I've brought it to the temperature of about between 110 and 115. Because I keep my yeast in the freezer, I always err on the side of 115 because it may take a little extra temperature to wake it up. So you pour in all of this.
So now the warm liquid is to wake up the yeast and get it going.
Yes.
Gotcha.
If you put in cold, it will keep the yeast asleep. And if it's too hot, it will kill the yeast.
So, like if you're laying in bed and it's cold, you cover up and you don't want to get up and wake up, right? You stay covered up and you don't want to wake up. But if you get too warm, then all of a sudden, okay, it's time to wake up. I can't keep laying here. It's too warm.
But if you get the water too warm with yeast, you'll kill it.
Well, if it's too hot, you just die.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I'm getting in with my hands now. You can use your hands or you can use a spoon. I prefer with yeast doughs, I prefer to use my hands because I can feel if it's going to need more flour or not. Because you know it's ready when it quits sticking to your fingers like that. And it pulls all of this that's stuck to the sides of the bowl, and all that on the bottom, it will pull all of that up. And it will clean your bowl for you when it's ready.
So is this why you have just in case flour?
Yes, in case you need more flour.
So if it gets too sticky, you dust it a little bit.
Yes. And it's still a little bit sticky, so I'm going to put in about a tablespoon. You don't want to put in more than that because if you add too much flour, then you end up with dry dough. And you end up with dry yeast rolls, which is not good.
Be awful dry though.
So as you can see, it's pretty much clean in the bowl now. With that 1 tablespoon, it's pretty much now clean in the bowl. These come together so quickly.
Yep, very easy.
Now, you want to put just a little bit of flour on your surface, not much. The way you throw flour is you put it in your hand like this, and you throw it.
Just flip it.
Just flip it.
Gotcha.
Now you start to knead your dough. And you knead it by patting it out, folding it over, pushing it away from you. Turn it, flatten it out, fold it, push it away from you. And you just keep that motion going. You can also knead it in your KitchenAid, but I prefer to knead it by hand because it doesn't take very long of a knead at all. At most, it'll take about 5 minutes. But basically, you knead it until you get a smooth dough ball.
And if there's somebody you don't like, you can imagine their head's in there and you're just smashing it down. Right?
It's actually kneading is actually a very relaxing.
Barney's Bob says therapeutic.
Yes, it's therapeutic. It's actually a very relaxing process for me. That's why a lot of times I will choose to knead by hand, because it is actually very relaxing. Good arm workout too, but it's also very relaxing.
It's therapeutic.
Yes, it's therapeutic. Now it's starting to feel a little tacky right now, but tacky is okay as long as it doesn't get sticky and it starts leaving behind dough on your fingers. Then you'll want to add just a little bit more flour to finish it up, but this is actually working out just fine because all the butter in the dough, it's actually working out just fine. And as you can see, we're almost at that smooth dough ball. And it's just been a few minutes. It hasn't even been 5 minutes. You will know it's ready when you take it up, smash it up like you're smashing up a kid's mouth to make fish lips. See?
I was going to say, whose kid are you smashing their mouth?
There's fish lips.
You imagine some kid's mouth and smash it in the mouth, little kid.
And when you make it into a ball, if it's ready, when you push on it, it'll spring back. See, when you push, it'll spring right back.
Yeah, I think you can see that.
So it's springing back, and it's a nice smooth dough ball. So it's ready to go for its rest. And because you're using rapid rise yeast, you'll just pop this back in the bowl that you mixed it in, cover it with a towel, and let it rest for just 10 minutes. Okay, it's been 10 minutes, and it doesn't really rise during that time. It just rests. So now you want to make it into your rolls. And to do that, because I'm going to try to show you a way that you'll get more even rolls. But this depends on you. This depends on how many rolls you want, and whether you want them big or small. You can make them little. I've made them little, and they're about this size. In that case, you'll cut it in 12. I'm going to do bigger rolls today, so I'm going to cut it in 6. So I'm making it into a log, cut that log in half, and cut each half in 3. Try to be as even as possible. It's not going to be exact, though.
It's pretty close, so you did good.
And then you will make, if like this one is a little small, you'll pull from one of the bigger ones and just make a dough ball. And this already smells good because
it does.
The yeast smell. Okay, now you'll take your ball of dough, you'll flatten it out, you'll bring it in to the middle, squish it up.
So you're just folding the outside edges in?
Yes, squish it up. Now, you cup your hand like this. Put it down on your surface. Cup your hand like this. Roll it around in your hand.
You used to do the dice game in Vegas maybe or something like that? Shell game in Vegas.
And see, now you've got a perfect roll.
Nice.
And I always bake mine. This is a 9-inch cast iron skillet. Or is it a 10-inch?
8 or 9, I don't think it's 10.
It's an 8 or a 9-inch cast iron skillet. And I've lined it with parchment paper. To me, they bake so good in cast iron. If you don't have cast iron, you can just bake them on a pan or whatever. But I think they bake so well in cast iron. And I'll show you again how to do this. You'll flatten it out, fold it over to the middle, squeeze it up like you're making fish lips, push it down, cup your hand, move it in a circle. Now you've got a perfect little roll. and you just keep putting them in there. They make sure that they don't touch right now. They will rise to touch each other. Now all of them are in the pan, and as you can see, they're not all perfectly even. It's
pretty
fine.
close. You did good.
Now you want to let them rise. I'm going to put the kitchen towel back over them. You want to let them rise in a warm place, and the kitchen is very warm right now because I have my oven preheated to 375 degrees because you want to go ahead and preheat it because these don't take no time to rise. So you want to cover them with a kitchen towel, let them rise for about 35 minutes, and then I'll show you what we do next. It's been 35 minutes, and as you can see, they've pretty much doubled in size.
Yeah, absolutely. Come together.
Yeah. And now, and if you cut them in 12 and do the small ones, the whole pan will be filled at this point. So you want to put them in a 375 degree preheated oven and let them bake until they are nice and brown. They'll get nice and brown on top. And when you'll be able to pull them apart and see if there's dough. If there's dough when you start to pull 2 rolls apart, if there is some dough left that does not feel cooked, then you'll need to let them cook a little bit longer. When you no longer see dough when you pull the rolls apart, they'll be ready. I'll show you what they look like when they're done. These beauties are out of the oven. They'll bake for anywhere from 20 to 25 minutes. If you bake them in something other than cast iron, they may take a little bit longer. Cast iron will bake faster. And as you can see, they're pulling apart really nicely.
Look great.
And when you turn them over, you tap on them, they'll sound hollow. And that's how you know they're done. Now you want to take about a tablespoon or 2, depending on how much butter you like.
Take some butter and rub it on.
And just rub it all over the tops of them. The more butter you rub on them, the better they're going to be.
Look all nice and shiny.
And also it adds a lot of flavor.
It does. It really does.
Even though there's already butter in them,
Yeah.
there's butter on top.
Yeah.
Makes all the difference.
You do it while it's hot, right?
Yes, you do it while these are just out of the oven. So you do it while it's hot. That way you don't have to melt the butter or anything.
Yeah.
You can just rub the butter right on and it will melt on its own.
And the bread absorbs it better too when it's hot.
Yes. And these are going to be delicious.
Oh yeah.
And we're having them with some nice potato soup.
Yep. Okay, now I get to taste this beautiful roll. Look at that. Mmm. Nice. Perfect. Look at that. Wow. What a beautiful, beautiful yeast roll. Great flavor, good buttery. It's just exactly what you want. Go with any kind of meal, go with soup, like we're eating it with some potato soup tonight. A good steak, whatever, doesn't matter. This is your go-to roll right here. So thank y'all for watching, we do appreciate it. My name is Jason, that's Angela Kay, this is Art Creation Homestead. We love y'all. God bless you and goodbye.